high school students, so come on over.
And we'll let you take it away. All right.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. How are you guys doing? Good. Well, we're really excited to be outside. It's actually really nice right now. Not raining yet, which is good. So we're trying to make this pretty quick. But I have a question for you guys. How many of you guys like to watch true crime documentaries or like NCIS or CSI? Raise a hand. Or have you ever seen them? Right? Okay. Cool. I really like those shows too because I find them so interesting. But the fact that those detectives can go and they can start with literally nothing, no evidence whatsoever, and they can end up finding this crime suspect out of nothing. I think that's really cool. But so I kind of want to think about this for a second. When a detective goes in to a crime scene, you know, they get the phone call and they go up and they're just like, the crime scene, it could be a robbery, whatever. What is the first thing a detective does at a crime scene? Can anybody raise a hand and tell me what they do? Anybody? You can shout it out. Don't be shy.
Look for some kind of evidence.
Evidence, yeah. What kind of evidence do you think they might look for?
Fingerprints.
Fingerprints, yeah. Anything else?
Foot tracks.
Foot tracks, yeah. Anything else, maybe? That's some good place to start. Maybe some like hair samples, you know, DNA samples. But yeah, they look for little pieces of evidence that don't seem that big, but finding that one little piece of evidence can lead to bigger and bigger pieces, and they can eventually find the suspect off of just a tiny little fingerprint, which is crazy. So with that, would you ever think that a wildlife biologist would also be a detective in some way? Maybe, yeah. So in a way, if you really think about it, wildlife biologists are presented with issues and problems that they solve by using research. So their crime scene is not really a crime scene, but they get ideas and stuff from people and they're like, hey, I don't know why this population of species is missing. Can you help? So their detective work is actually done through research. So maybe some ways that they do research is by completing population surveys. Does anybody know what a population survey is? A wild guess, maybe? No? So if we think about it, so a population survey, what is a survey? Can anybody tell me what a survey is?
Series of questions.
Yeah, so you like kind of find out what people think maybe, and in this case we kind of think about what's there, what's around. You take a survey or an idea of what's in an area. So a population survey is trying to figure out what populations exist within a given area. So wildlife biologists do this in different ways. One way they can actually trap the animals and see them in person, but that costs a lot of money and it's really hard to do and see animals because they're super unpredictable if you didn't know that. So most of the time when wildlife biologists need to do these surveys, they will actually take time and just look for evidence in an area. So they'll look for clues, which is actually what you guys are going to get to do today. So you're kind of going to think about yourself as a wildlife biologist or a detective, whatever makes you more happy. And we're actually going to have an opportunity for you guys to complete a population survey of this vicinity and this habitat. Now population surveys are normally taken in a really big area and, you know, it's boundaries and everything, but we're going to do a very informal one just to let you guys see what it's like to find evidence of animals that are there. So you want to tell them how we're going to do that?
So you're going to go out, and you go up this hill, you go down the bank a little, all the way to the other side. Try not to go up that hill so much. And you're just going to look for the evidence, and then you're going to kind of take photos of your crime scene, and you're going to take photos of any signs you've seen. So it can be scat, it can be of an acorn, it can be poop, just scat. You can look for grass that's been chewed, you can look for marks on trees, just any sign. If you can find some tracks, that'd be awesome. I don't know with the rain if you can find some, but that'd be awesome. And just take photos, and then you're going to use your sheets that Miranda shall pass out.
Yeah, and if you could get in your routines of 5 that you've been working in, so you separate a little bit so it doesn't get hectic.
So you're gonna go around your groups with this paper, and you're gonna try to identify what type of animals are in this area.
So, if you just start by looking out at this area, what kind of habitat do we have here? What are the first observations that you make?
There's a pond.
Yes, water source right there, so a lot of animals would be coming by here. Good one. Anything else?
Is like a roadway, so a lot of animals like to travel up and
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
really
animals can travel across there.
There's a hard edge.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's an edge which is good for predator-prey relationships because predators can hide there and then jump out and get their prey. What about the fact that it's a hardwood? Anybody know why that might be? Because hardwood trees usually provide acorns and food sources for other animals, so it's very plentiful once they all drop their acorns in their nut. Anything else?
I heard it over here a little bit, but I think it was CWD might be out there too.
I whispered that.
Say it with pride.
Alright, so do you guys have any kind of predictions for what kind of animals you might see out here? Deer. Deer, for sure. That's a good one. Yeah, definitely. Squirrels. Anything else? Alright. Well, we're gonna give you guys 10 to 15 minutes. You have me back.
So if y'all can be back at like 2:35ish.
And you'll hear me holler. I got a big mouth. You can't miss it. So I'll holler for everybody to come back, and we'll gather back up, and we'll kind of see what we found. So as you take your pictures in your groups, go ahead and try to ID them. I know the papers might be a little small, but give it a wild guess, and we'll come back together and we'll see what we found here, and then we'll kind of reflect a little bit and talk about the population here in this area.
Yeah.
How
So-
far are we going?
You can go down this road, stay along the pond edge, and if you want to go up in the woods a little bit, you can. We found some good stuff up there before. So, just around this
Don't
area.
go too far.
You're
Don't
high
listen to
schoolers,
anything.
so we trust you guys.
All right. Yep.
All right.
So you got it. Go. You got it. Go find it.
And you can ask us if you have any questions.
Yeah. Please come ask us if you don't know what it's something you need.
Yell if you need help.
And you can also go behind us too.
I was going to say
What time you said?
Good stuff. Good, good.
Hey, I'm gonna chill in this area.
Okay.
Right. And that's why I thought with the middle school students, you need to have more of a boundary. But with high school students, they like that freedom.
You work over there, you know, and that you knew that things, they weren't going to be out in the pens. And that's
Yeah,
good
when
to know.
we went
Yeah.
last week, they had them all in the stables. I don't know. But,
Just my luck. That's okay.
yes, they
Well,
are
great
out
to
there
know.
now.
Okay.
We just have to walk around to the back to see them because those two big pins, the one up front is connected to another one, and they normally stay in the other one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a buck pen back there too? I didn't know.
Yeah, the one on the top shelf of the store.
I'm going to tag along with your group for a little bit if that's okay. So if you see anything, point it out. I'll get it on camera.
Don't try to find anything. I'll come.
Look out for briars.
I'm gonna leave. Okay.
I told you could bounce taller if you need so.
Well, y'all have got a browse line here, so that counts, right? A browse line. So deer, when there are edges, they'll browse to a certain height. And so like you can kind of see here how there's a little bit of a line that goes all the way down. So some of that might be mechanical too, but if you look at like farmers' fields and stuff like that, you'll see that a lot.
I'll take a picture of you guys.
Yeah. There's a burrow over there of something.
Yeah.
Holes in there.
Hole's perfect.
Several of them. I don't know if they're man-made or animal-made, but we got some holes. It's like that movie.
Mm-hmm. Does that ants count? Are those ant hills?
There's another hole.
I'm trying so hard.
I know you are.
220.
Ant hill.
A little muddy.
Fishing?
When they're out doing stuff, visit with them more bad.
John, what have I been doing? That's awesome.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I was thinking. I think it's too big to be goose. I don't know, maybe. But it does look like goose.
There you go. Yeah, okay. Little citizen science. Oh, really? Okay.
And a deer, a really nice deer road, too. I was down there visiting.
Oh, great, great, great. Did
It's
y'all
crazy.
find
Usually this is
something
like a whole like 3 feet receded and there's a really nice muddy bank.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was looking at that. That's all grass. Like
Yeah.
that first couple feet in, I was like,
Oh,
ugh,
this is really, really high.
it's gonna get even higher the next couple days.
I know.
No look on the tracks, but you can show them the tracks.
I think in the wind, that's crazy.
Yeah, I saw that one
That's
big
great.
one way down in there. Yeah.
Honestly. As long as I can hear them.
So you started at 219. So you got time. Whatever y'all want to do.
We thought like the bigger the one time they had the better. But it's such a big area. Because well, when we got down here, we were like given 10 minutes, but there's no muddy bank, so it was really long.
Did y'all find anything good?
Bullets,
Ooh, you actually got some?
5 of them.
Well, what do you know? Hopefully they're spent. That's any live ones out there. Do y'all know bird calls? I hear birds. I don't know birds. I'm like, oh, there's a habitat for a bird. I don't know what kind though. I don't know. Who's doing it?
Some top of a little buggy on the water.
Keep an eye for a minute. I don't think it's gonna work.
Probably not, just because either way I'm about to be getting away.
There's some petite-ish thing. Yeah.
Hey, she would.
But I guarantee you, if you went to push me in, you'd be coming with me.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
Big rabbit on the zoo.
Wait, the scat was right here.
Scat guy was right there.
All right, let's get that on the video.
Oh.
Woo! Did a tree just go down?
Either that or, I don't know. Looks like what's left of a rabbit.
I think that's the only thing I can do though. 'Cause I can't whistle.
Well, like,
So bird calls aren't a thing.
Ooh, burrow thing there.
ooh, nothing. There's holes in there.
What did you just say?
We got 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Lord have mercy. Oh, y'all had another hole in the ground. Got another hole? Got another one.
I don't know what did this, but something did that. That's not a person. I guess a bird, woodpecker, maybe. Like, look how it's worth a picture. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't realize how close we were to the river. good.
Hey, y'all, we got 3 minutes. We were looking in there to see if we could find.
Right? I was like, that'd be a nice little, especially when it's raining. Something nice and dry to stay in. Did y'all find anything good with your group?
Found about scats and scrapes and rubs. That's about it.
All right, cool. Yeah, we didn't really find too much on this side anyways.
What did y'all find?
We found some like burrows. We weren't
we
sure.
did find some burrows.
Yeah, we weren't sure what they were. You can see the browse line from up here, and then the red ant hills.
Yeah, I think there might be ants in this area.
Yeah, I think so too. Apparently, Dr. Furman, he does that Ranger Nick segment. Do you know that he does that little TV show?
I think so.
Yeah, well, he did one, I guess a couple weeks ago, and it was about red ant hills and why they're popping up now. And, like, I should just watch it, but I'm going to ask him why, because I'm like, they are all popping up.
Yeah, that was like the first thing we noticed when we got out. We were walking this way.
Mm-hmm.
I kept worried I was going to step in one.
Well, thankfully it's rainy, so they're all inside the mound today.
Oh, we did see a couple. I think we saw like one set of tracks.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so we found more than I was expecting.
Yeah. Well, the group that's presenting, they said they've been here before when it's dry, and there's just a lot more signs. They said usually this is about 3 feet lower too, but with all that rain we got last week, and I guess this upcoming week it's gonna stay high.
Yeah, this weather. One day it's snowing, next day it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Next day it's pouring down. Tie my shoe when we get up there.
Yeah, don't trip, please.
Yeah, I'll just take a swim.
We'll have to drive the van down to get you,
Yeah, I'll
and not get it stuck.
I can't believe he said it just pulled right there. I can just fix that be my luck.
Oh, I know, right? You're just sitting in the seat like this is happening, and just
Yep.
slide all the way back.
Yeah, first I was like, I think that might be a human.
I know. I was like, wait a minute.
You got me second guessing everything now.
All right, I'm gonna cover this up.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. And it goes. It definitely looks like the shape of a deer, but the middle part just seems so wide.
It's slid in the mud or something, I think.
Just kind of.
It's so wide for a deer. That was like when I did my project with when I was looking for like tracks for my project. I found one and I was like, oh my gosh. This is a huge bobcat, but it ended up being my dog who like slid. But I swear, I'll show you a picture, and then it looks like a cat because a cat paw print, that pad is real round, and their little toe pads are like really symmetrical, and dogs are like even. They're like too even, but he just like slid. So it was really cool. All right. Well, we can kind of scoot under the here a little bit. Maybe it'll get the rain underneath the dead. Were we successful at all?
Yes.
Yay! That's so exciting. So sometimes, as you know, wildlife can be pretty predictable. We'll wait for our friends. I was just going to talk to them. But, you know, wildlife can be pretty unpredictable. So sometimes you just can't find stuff, which is frustrating as wildlife biologists. But in this case, it sounds like we got some good evidence. Hopefully we got some. So just wait for them to come up. Sorry it's raining. It'd be like that sometimes.
So, can somebody just tell us what you guys found?
We found some bones.
Bones? Really? What kind of bones?
Deer.
Deer
Back
bones?
end of a dead deer.
Okay, cool. Okay, write that down. We're gonna write down what we found and we talk about it. Yeah, what did you find?
Great.
Lots of deer rubs. Lots of deer rubs. Awesome.
Oh gosh.
What about your group over here? What did y'all find?
Deer. Bullet casings.
Like an armadillo? Oh yeah, like this one. Right over there. Yeah, so like armadillos like to dig those weird, like I don't know, it's like nothing. It doesn't go anywhere, but they just like dig. They like to push insects. Yeah, that's good. Poop. Poop. What kind of poop? Do you have a picture of it? Yeah.
found a lot of
Rain
poop.
is not being kind to this monster. Oh, where's in the picture with the poop?
Oh yeah. So that kind of looks to me. I don't know that cylindrical piece that we found.
Oh, maybe goose scat?
Maybe, but it's also not goose season. They're not normally here right now. So there's no telling what it could be. But one thing when we look at scat, this is something for your knowledge. If it's tapered on the end, it's usually a sign of feline scat, because their scat, this is really graphic, sorry, but their scat will actually taper at the end. But dogs or any sort of canine will be blunt at the end. So that's something you can look at if you look at scat. Another way, if you see a piece of scat and you're like, I don't know what it is, you can break it open with a stick. You don't got to use your hand. And you can kind of see what's inside, because their diet and what's inside that scat will tell you a lot about what that animal could be. So I saw you guys found some coyote scat, right?
Yep.
How did you know it was coyote scat?
We just kind of deducted and kind of analyzed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Noticed that there was some kind of fur in it, so we knew it was a predator
Right.
at that point.
Nice.
And from that, it was a pretty big pile, so it probably wasn't a fox.
Right. Yeah.
So we knew it was probably a coyote.
Nice job. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to use those analyzation skills to kind of figure out what it might be. But fur is a really great example of something that will tell you like what it eats. Raccoon scat. If you see raccoon scat, first of all, never touch raccoon scat. Fun fact: they actually carry worms in their digestive system that can be very parasitic to you. So you don't touch raccoon scat. But you can tell because they eat a lot of seed things, and so there's a lot of seeds and like different little berries in there. So that's just fun fact. So cool about scat. Anybody find any tracks by any chance?
Yeah, saw some raccoon tracks. By the
Raccoon
river.
tracks? How did you know it was a raccoon track? Do you know?
Just
You wanna guess?
from being familiar with their paw print.
Yeah. So raccoon tracks. Anybody know how many fingers they have?
It's 5.
Five. Yeah, 5. So a raccoon kind of looks like your hand. But anybody know what the difference between a raccoon and a possum is? Anybody? Yeah, so the possum actually has like a thumb that's real far down here. So when he has a paw print, he'll actually drop his thumb down real low. A raccoon's just going to have it like this. So that's the difference between raccoons and possums.
You said you found the raccoon by the river?
Yeah. So we just kind of figured since it was by the river, like raccoons are more likely to be down there.
Yeah.
So-
Do you know why they're more likely to be down by the river?
They're probably down there looking for like mussels and crawfish and dead fish washed up, stuff like that.
You said it. What was it?
To wash their food.
Yeah, raccoons
Oh, yeah.
actually like to wash their food before they eat it. They're very clean.
If you want a funny video, go watch raccoons washing cotton candy. They get fake cotton candy and then it just disappears. It's very sad, but it'll teach you a lot about raccoons.
I actually have seen that before.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
And then, what did you guys find? Anything?
Deer print.
Deer print. That's awesome.
And lots of
Yeah.
poop.
All right. So it sounds like we found a lot of deer. Yeah.
We found some stuff when we were looking around. When we were looking around here.
Up there, the behind Trevor.
Sometimes you can see where they've been eating by looking at the grass blades. I don't see it, Julia.
So
We didn't keep good track of it. Of
right
course.
here. So I'm coming around. So the normal blade of grass is on my left, and the eaten blade of grass is on my right. So rabbits, they'll actually like to eat straight like this, straight off. Actually, no, deer like to eat straight off. Rabbits eat angled.
Yes.
So you can see here that this has been grazed on, maybe by a deer, maybe by a rabbit, but you can see that sometimes even the littlest evidence can tell us what's been around here. It has to be back this way. It's very minute, but it seems like that.
And if you guys also look behind you at those vines that are hanging down, you see it's missing some of the leaves, and that's something called deer browse, where deer will come by and eat those leaves off so that they're half gone and then half have leaves on. So that's another sign of deer in the area.
All right, so now that you've kind of done your evidence and we've kind of collected it and we've figured out we've got deer, what else? Raccoon, maybe geese, armadillos. It seems like there's a lot of variety here. So what do you think that tells us about this habitat? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it could be better? What do you guys think? It's pretty good, yeah. So for a good species diversity, the habitat has to be really, really great. And I mean, a water source with a lot of fish, in the stream with some fish and some different, algae for smaller animals that like to eat plants and stuff. It's really great. So, So to wrap up here, I kind of want to reflect. So why do you guys think that population surveys are important? What do you think they can tell wildlife biologists about populations of species in an area? Any guesses? Here, maybe I'll give you an example. So say that we came out here and there's this rainbow skunk, right? Seems crazy, but just say there's a super rare rainbow skunk that lives here in this area, okay? So say we come out here and we don't find it. What can be some factors that would not allow our skunk to live in an area? Something that's missing, that it doesn't like to live there because of.
A lot of predators.
Maybe there's a lot of predators that it doesn't want to be around. That's a good point. What about stuff that helps it live, like food, maybe? Any other ideas off that?
Shelter.
Yeah, shelter. Maybe they don't have a good enough habitat. Like, you know, maybe they like to live under like specific, maybe like a soil type. Maybe it's not sandy enough here for them to dig a burrow. So with that, wildlife biologists can kind of think, okay, well, there's no skunks here, and they can kind of pick into the pieces of maybe why they're not, and then they can pick and do more research individually on that subject. So they can research the food, they can research the habitat, and then as you go along, hopefully they can kind of narrow it down to find that one specific prime suspect or their prime reason that that skunk doesn't live here, and that'll be their answer to their crime scene. So hopefully you guys got something out of this day. I hope you learned something. We're really excited we were able to come here. But Miranda did bring a sign of something you might be familiar with.
Just in case you guys couldn't find one, we found this last year out here in Whitehall, and it's a deer shed. Deer shed their antlers every year after the rut. So this is one that was just fallen off, found in the woods. It's got bite marks in it, possibly from a rodent. So I just thought that was cool. I wanted to show it to you in case we couldn't find one.
Alright, so hopefully next time you guys watch NCIS, or my favorite show is actually called Mindhunters. It's on Netflix. I love it. Maybe you'll think about how wildlife biologists kind of relate to those. As weird as it may seem, it's still really important for wildlife biologists to be as much of a detective as an actual detective is. So thanks, guys. Hope you had fun.
Let's give them a round of applause. That's great. That's great. And Miss Hallie, we're about 33